Hi, thanks for joining us on Burning Bridges podcast. I'm Taimana.
And I'm Renee.
We created this podcast because I've always been curious on what people have gone through in their lives, the struggles and adversity, trauma that they've experienced and how they dealt with it. Burning Bridges podcast goes through where people will share their stories, but the focus is on how they change their lives around.
We speak to everyday people as well as high-profile guests where they share things that they haven't shared before exclusively here on Burning Bridges.
If you like this podcast, please like, follow and subscribe.
That helps us to bring more episodes to you with quality guests that you like.
And if there's any guests that you'd like to see on our show, please put it in the comments, as that will also help us grow. Thanks for tuning in. We sit down with Corbin Mita, a professional martial arts fighter currently fighting in the IBC, International Brawling Championship. Corbin is a warrior in and outside of the cage. From his sexual abuse as a child, he has now evolved into a strong young man with humility. Let's hear his story.
The following episode may contain discussions of sensitive and potentially distressing topics. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. This content is intended for mature audiences and may not be suitable for all listeners, for informational purposes only, and does not constitute professional advice, diagnosis or treatment.
Kia ora, I'm Corbin. I'm 26 years old, born and raised in Aotearoa, New Zealand, from the Wairarapa, a small coastal town on the east coast, and you're listening to Burning Bridges podcast. Yeah, cha-ching.
Corbin, thank you for being here. We're excited to have you.
Kia ora, my bro.
Kia ora, brother.
We've been talking to make this happen for, over a month or so. And we finally got here.
Yeah.
I've been really looking forward to this. Just see, you are a fighter. Currently in the IBC, which is a new sport that's like boxing.
Like a mix of boxing and brawling with smaller gloves on. So it's like a mix of boxing and bare knuckle. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And we went and watched you fight a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And that was, that was...
Yeah.
My first impression when I first met you, saw you at the Tane Matua.
Yeah.
It was, when you got up and spoke, my first impressions was, he's a very soft person. I had no idea about you, what you do. And it's just, you're very softly spoken, you would not think that you're a fighter, that's for sure, my first impressions.
Yeah.
And I didn't even think that you'd have like a vicious part in you. And then one of your sayings that you say that I love is activate your warrior.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And when you say that, and then when I see you train and seeing you fight and you activate that warrior, Māori warrior, bro, you're insane. It's like, for me, I think, man, I want to be like you. Like, if my younger version would have been like, oh, bro, I want to hang out with you. You're cool.
Yeah.
And I want to train with you. And I want to start fighting. Yeah. You're just an inspiration.
Thank you, brother.
Probably to a lot of people. But even me, at 50 years old, I look at you as an inspiration. Like, you're going for your dream. You're going for your goals. But before we go deep into all this, let's go back to the start, where you were born and raised, and what was that like for you?
So back to the start, we're in Wairarapa, like I said before, on the east coast, sort of an hour from Wellington, if you're familiar with NZ. I grew up in a household that was loving. It was loving. But when I reflect on my childhood, it's mostly from photos where I can think back. It was a bit of a blank spot. And I think that was purely because of like traumatic situations that happened within our household. Yeah, it's sort of like I can't really remember it, but I can remember more the angry moments or what was happening. There were definitely a lot of positive memories going to the beach with my mum and dad, but then I sort of went for a point, I think it was on my fourth birthday, where I remember everything that happened, and it was I walked into my dad beating up my mum, at such a young age, and that was quite hard for me because I sort of hear my mum, you know, saying like, get out the room, you know, and that was the earliest, that's the memory I sort of start from that moment. And it was scary. And that obviously going past that, I sort of started to learn that, you know, my dad wasn't the person I sort of envisioned him to be. It was like, when you're young, your parents are everything, but seeing that first thing, I was like, oh, I knew this wasn't right. And to this day, I'm a mummy's boy at heart, you know, love my mum. Yeah, that was just a really struggling moment for me as a kid. I was quite introverted from that point. I was quite an introvert growing up, and I ended up moving to Aotearoa, because obviously when that happened, my mum decided to split up from my dad. So that was probably around when I was 5. So straight after that, my mum sort of was like, nah, something's not right, you know. We split up, and I moved to Aotearoa with my ma. And then she met my stepdad. My stepdad, Scotty. Love him to bits. He's another father figure in my life that I had a lot of time for. And during that time, having a disconnected family, I didn't really like my dad from that moment, if you know what I mean. I had a lot of resentment, even at a real young age. I think it was because I was scared and all of this stuff, and I didn't like going to church. That was the other thing, that my dad, you know, would always take me to church, and it was this narrative in my head like, okay, I'm probably around 7 at this age, 7, 8. I understand that, you know, you're a man of God, but I'm still reflecting back to the moment where you hit my mum. And yeah, I ended up going to St. Claudine's School in Aotearoa, and it was a Christian-based school. And during that time, I got sexually assaulted at about 8 years old, another young age. So that's why my thing from 4 to 8 is that those are sort of my only memories that I sort of that are quite vivid. You know, I obviously have the memories with my cousins and stuff. They're happy memories. You know, it'll be having our golf tournaments at our whānau house out Bideford. So there are these little happy memories, but these are the ones that sort of stay with me. And, you know, when that sexual assault happened to me, also made the connection, like I'm at a Christian college, you know, a religious school, you know, why is this happening to me? You know, this isn't right. And I started to form this belief of like, don't tell me to go to church. I don't need to go to church, you know. So I held on to that. I didn't tell my mum for a long time till I was about a teenager. And I really held on to that. Still remember the moments of it, you know. It wasn't nice, but yeah, really held on to that. And there was one time that we ended up moving back to Masterton. So I would have been around 11, 12 years old. Moved back to Masterton with my stepdad, and we moved out to the farm. So my parents were looking after our friend's farm while they moved away. This was out in Aotearoa, and these were one of the happiest times of my life, being out on the farm. I got heavily into motocross. Was really into motocross, hunting, snaring. It just gave me a lot of freedom, where I could just come home from school and just go out into the bush, you know, go to the river. So that, like, I miss that life, to be fair. So yeah, I got heavily into motocross, and I was starting to pursue that. Like, everything was about motocross, you know. My parents went really hard to get me a new dirt bike for Christmas, and that was my thing. Every day after school, come home, start the dirt bike, and I was off, you know, out the gorge or to the river or anywhere. But there was one moment during that time where I just couldn't hold on to it anymore, and I ended up telling my mum like what had happened with the sexual assault, and there's just this big release. Like, it's when I reflect about it, I remember the show that I was watching. It was like Lost and Found, and I remember telling my mum, just walking in, just saying, this is what happened. And mum done everything she could, you know. She got counselling, got me all the Western ways of, you know, what she thought was right at the time, which it was, you know. It helped me a lot. It helped me forget a lot of it, but I think now it's sometimes good to reflect on your past, not necessarily forget it and push it down. And a lot of love and light to, you know, the person who put that pain on me, or the mumai on me. I had this burning hatred inside that I was like, one day I'm gonna get you. And this is around when I started to become into my teenage years. I was quite a people pleaser from that point. So those traumatic situations sort of formed me where I could read the room, I could blend in to not get bullied. I was quite quiet. I had a lot of anger issues internally, but on the outside I was probably really quiet. And then I found the passion for martial arts. So this is around about 16 years old. And man, it was just from a kid that had no confidence and would sort of walk around with his head down and not engage in confrontation. When I found martial arts, it sort of lifted me up, upped me a bit, lifted me up, and I felt really good from it. And I was doing that for about a year, and then my nanny Aotearoa, rest in peace, Nan, she was like, I don't want my moko doing fighting, So mum took me out of fighting. What did I do out of fighting? What did I do out of fighting?
So you experienced that at such a young age, being sexually abused, and I've never been sexually abused myself, so I can't even have the words to even go there. What that would be like for a young boy into their adolescence, and then into a man, like having that in your head and how you deal with it and how you cope with it. That you went to your mum, just how old? 12? 11?
Yeah, I was been about 12, yeah.
And having the courage to do that, and your mum actually listening to you too.
Yeah.
Taking that on, because I've heard a lot of stories where people go to their parents or parent and tell their parent, and they're just dismissed. In your case, that your mum listened to you and got you the help that you needed at that time is great. And then with your martial arts, what was the point where that got you into the martial arts? Was it a show, a movie, or friends?
What got me into it was, I think I started back when I was about 17. It was my mates, seeing them doing better for themselves. And I think at the time I had a lot of still anger in me, because I was getting to the age where I could do something about, if I wanted to do something, I could, express it through anger or physical abuse, and I was probably a bit unbalanced at the time. So there was, coming to 17, I was, drinking, going to the pub, having fights and all of this stuff, but it was all coming from a place of not confident and, thinking I'm the man because I'm trying to prove something to other people. This constant thing of proving that I'm a good person, or proving that I'm strong, or proving that I'm this. So it was basically seeing my mates do better for themselves, and I just got addicted after that. The environment, I found the community. I started to realise I wasn't alone. I have really great mates, just a handful, I can count off my hands, but I didn't really have a community. I played rugby, but then people wouldn't turn up to rugby training, and it was I just wanted to do something where it required a lot of self-discipline. And when I first went to training, I just started to notice a lot of positive changes within my life, and that I was sort of rewriting my script, flourished from there.
What made you go and talk to your mum? Did you feel something?
Oh yeah, felt something definitely heavy. It was just this constant, when I think about it now, it's just this constant, in your gut, heavy chest. It was like anxiety. At the time, I didn't know what anxiety was, but just like a weight, you're constantly carrying a backpack of negative energy, It was just this weight, and I just felt disgusted in myself, felt humiliated, felt ashamed. At that time I was at the time, let me take you back, at the time of when it happened, I remember afterwards his nan picked us up and we went to the supermarket, and we were getting drinks for a movie, and in the line at the supermarket I just fucking bawled down, because the nan didn't know what was going on. I said, no, I want my mum. And mum was working at the time. She worked multiple jobs. So my mum came and got me, and I was, oh no, nothing. I just didn't want to go. It was like that. And she didn't know at that moment. So yeah, it was just a really heavy weight of negative energy. And as a kid, I just couldn't express it. And the only express was to just,
Yeah. Because there'd be a lot of people that feel like that don't know who to talk to when they feel that heaviness. So you're lucky you were able to talk to your mum.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't even have that.
Yeah.
And now you got into fighting, and was that because it's in a controlled environment that you felt confident to start doing that?
Yeah, it was definitely the community, like getting more time with my mates, not necessarily being at home playing the video game and being an introvert. It was getting out, connecting with my mates, and I just felt a lot of positive stuff from me because I realised it was a big reality shift. You're not that strong. It was very humiliating. Like, they say walk around with humility. It's definitely that. And it's just the journey. Like with anything, once you sort of master something, you become more aware of yourself. You become how to interact with people to not create confrontation. Like once I started martial arts, I had no fights at the pubs. Like I was always having a lot of drinking fights and having fights at the pub. And I had a really good coach, and he was a great role model for me. So he's like another father figure to me. So it was just all of that. It was like I was seeking something that I probably lacked with my own father. And obviously my stepdad, love him to bits, but it was that disconnection of like he's my dad now, but it was that thing of like he's not my biological dad. It was all this, and even like with my culture, I didn't feel Māori enough. Like it was just all these little things. Like I was embarrassed to be Māori. So it was all these things. And when I went into this martial arts gym, it was a multicultural that expressed it and were proud. They had a lot of islanders, Rarotongan, Māori in there. So it was just this mixed acceptance almost. There weren't these little groups of, those where those people hang out, those where these people hang out. It was just, unity. It was like I and I was all one, So yeah, I just loved it. Loved every moment of it.
Talk to us why you didn't feel sense of belonging, as in not Māori enough, because we hear this a lot.
Yeah. So the classic when you're young, oh, you're hoary, or like oh, look at your clothes, all these things. And even with my own whānau, whānau's everything, but it was this sense of like it's just like a shame. Like sometimes people would look at you funny, or my teacher used to like single me out sometimes. You think you're Māori, like these little things, half caste, all these little things, just because I wasn't, darker. And I think that's what played into this now is, as you get older, you revisit back to that, of trying to find your identity.
Yeah, I can really relate to that. Like being Māori and being fair, and to white people, I was black, I was dark. To my whānau, I was white. And just having that displacement of not knowing where you belong. Sort of where you belong, but it's like they have this negative dig at you all the time, whether it's teasing, whether it's fun, but it just wears out. It wears on you all the time. And then you end up holding on to it as an attachment. It's not until you sort of, when you get older, you can sort of just process it and just put it to the back and go, oh man, like that was just, be treated like that wasn't right. But you learn to be proud of who you are. Not worrying about being accepted in groups. You're just proud to be who you are. If you don't accept me, well, I don't care. Yeah.
And it was a lot with even my whānau, like not a lot of them spoke Māori, even my nans. It was like, well, obviously they were, just culturally, it was like, not taught in schools, and you got punished if you spoke it. And so it was all of that, it was this lost thing of like, I'm Māori, but I don't know, no one in our whānau is adding it into our daily kōrero or anything like that. It's just not spoken of. So it's like, yeah, you're Māori. Yeah, well, I can't speak Māori. It's like, and it was just the sense of direction, like seeing my nannies, like, not speaking it around their mokos or anything like that, so it was, a lot of it was.
Were you
was
exposed to like the maraes and going to the marae? Were you doing any of that?
Yeah, so I went to, obviously being a Māori whānau, a lot of tangies. So we'd go there, the protocols. I remember always being real nervous to do the haka. you know, when I was young, because I was like, oh, I don't know the haka. And then my cousins, who went to like Hata Paora and something, we'll teach you, you know. So I learnt the haka, and now I'm like out there, I'm like, yeah, come on, let's go. You know, so it was that, all of that, even when you're getting welcomed onto marae, this is probably something that I need to revisit now, is seeing my uncles and stuff, you know, there's no leader and to be able to speak. So then, you know, I'm feeling like I have to get up at the marae and be the leader when I'm looking at my uncles going, oh, who else is going to do something, you know? So I'm thankful that within my cousins, we have some leaders in there that, you know, and able to navigate me on where to go. But yeah, marae's I was fine with, you know, I was fine seeing, I love how as a culture we, you know, celebrate and sleep with the body and all of this. I love that, you know. I love that. That's how I want to go, you know. All the cuzzies playing outside, you got the aunties cooking in the kitchen, and then you got the ones that are smoking and cooking. You're like, oh no, thank you. So, you know, playing spotlight, all of that.
Well, if you want to know all the gossip going on in your iwi in the marae, go into the kitchen with the aunties and do some dishes. You'll find out everything there.
Yeah. Did you fight professionally when you done?
When I was in NZ?
Yeah.
Yep. So in NZ, I had I won the New Zealand title. That was our last fight before we flew to Gold Coast. Yeah. So I had a lot of fights. I had about 14 fights back in NZ, 13 and 14 fights through like a six year period. I lost 2 of them, and then I also represented New Zealand and Wales and flew over to Europe.
Oh, cool.
And managed to win 3 gold medals over there as well.
Man.
In K1 boxing. So that was another moment of like, you know, like love to myself, like look at you, you know. Thankful to have my mum and my auntie there as well, supporting me. It's just
that's awesome. What year did you go over to Wales?
2022. Yep, I
just
got
a few years ago, not that
2021. 2021. I got to go with some of my best mates as well, and it was just one of those moments that we all were like, man, we're from the small town, like we never thought we'd be here, you know.
Love those moments for you. That realization,
Yeah.
How long was that trip for? How long did you go over there for?
So the tournament was about a week, and then my fiancée Ella and I went and travelled for a couple of weeks after that. And yeah, that just opened my heart, because I've been to Australia but never been like international, like, you know, Australia's like New Zealand, you know, like a brother and sister type of thing. So going to Europe and traveling around Europe, that really opened up my eyes, and sort of made a lot of downloads and a lot of connections, that there's a lot more than this, you know, staying in your hometown and not seeking.
What was your highlights for that trip?
Highlights for that trip was obviously being able to have my fiance there, my ma, my auntie, and just being with some of my best mates, you know, my brothers. And man, I remember just dropping to my knees. Like, I remember my coach in the corner, this last round, he came in and was like, bro, remember why you're here, you're tipping her. With it just amped me up, mate. Just amped me up. And I was like, yeah. And when I won, I was just this whole thing of like just dropping to my knees, like, you know, it's just all this reflection of like who you were, overcoming these obstacles. It was just like, bam, 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 bam. And yeah, that was the highlight of my trip.
Did you have a training camp over there, like a week?
Yep. So we had to get selected for the NZ team, you had to do this training camp. You had to have a certain amount of fights and do this training camp. You got selected, and then the whole New Zealand team flew over together. There might have been about 25 of us, 30 of us. We stayed all in a hotel, and we had shout out to Pontins. Oh, there's some memories there. But we had a venue there, and we were training there leading up to the fight. And yeah, it was a funny time, actually. It was a funny time.
We just done an episode with Benny Harrington, who's a pro coach for All Stars Boxing, and we're just asking him about the camps and the training camps and what, all the strategies within your training, like when to amp it up, when to like
deload,
all that.
So being from NZ, it was just always amped up. So I was the real old school way of training, which I'm thankful for. It was like, run, just keep training. But then moving to Gold Coast is like a structure to it. Now that now I notice, like, this is what I need to be doing. There's a lot of things training camps. It's not just running and fighting. There's like plyometrics training. There's like mobility training. All these little aspects, anaerobic, aerobic systems to train, and like your strength. It's a snowball effect. You can just go so deep with it, eh?
Yeah. This is just okay. You're in New Zealand. You move over to Australia and to the Gold Coast. What was the motivation behind that?
The motivation behind that, Ella wanted to go back to Gold Coast, and this was after the travelling, and I'd finally jumped on ship going, oh, yep, okay, we can do this. We had a lot of growth at that time, because we had a lot of growth at that time. So we're both aligned and like, yep, let's go. So Ella carried the torch and went over first to set up, and I was in NZ setting up our house to like rent out. And it was just more opportunity. It's like really why we went over. Obviously you get paid more, over here. There's a lot more exposure for my martial arts. So that was another reason. A lot more entries into where I want to go. And it's just a lifestyle. Like, man, I never lived on the Gold Coast. My dad said he used to live on there. He said he loved it. So it's just experience, eh? We've got our whānau back home. If it didn't work out, we could come back, So it was just experience.
So you've only just been here how many years?
A year and 1.5 years? Yeah.
Oh, so you're just like newly here
I'm
to
fresh.
Australia.
I'm fresh.
Oh, I wasn't going to say it. No.
Yeah.
No, that's so cool.
That's so cool. So you were in the same town that you grew up in the whole time?
Whole time, yep.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm mastered in.
And you just said too, you rented your house out. So you bought a house in New Zealand?
Yeah, so Ella and I bought a house in NZ, and then we lived in it for about a year. And then, Ella came over and we organised someone to rent it out while we moved over here, So pretty real thankful for that.
That's cool. Oh, man, you're doing well. It was always a dream to have, like I didn't get to reach that until, 47.
Wow. It was a lot of hard work. I was working a lot when I was, to go back to the farm, I was working when I was 13 years old, milking the cows in the morning, because I was doing a lot of relief milking around that time. Yeah. So it was just all of that right up to 21, and then I got a plumbing apprenticeship, and real fortunate to be able to get a property. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And that's what you're doing here now too?
Yeah.
With your training. Yeah. So what's your training like? You're a pro fighter.
Yep. IBC, yeah. Had my first debut.
Yeah. Okay.
With the IBC was my first pro fight, yeah.
How long ago was that? Your first
pro was
debut?
the
IBC one?
Yeah. So that was my debut to professional, like with their sanctioned body. Yeah. But before you guys, I had 2 other fights that year, which I was thankful to come away with the win. So yeah. So at the moment, I'm sort of just, I'm loving the opportunities that IBC have been providing for me. So I think I'm just going to stick with that. But my goal was to be MMA. So I'm just sort of flowing with what, whatever, I don't want to get punched in the head for free. I've done that 14 other fights ago. So, yeah.
So explain to me and others that don't know, you've been doing IBC fighting for how long?
So IBC, I've been with them, they've only had 2 fight shows. So it would have been about 8 months.
Okay. When you say sanctioned, what does that mean?
So they're they've got their own rule set and their own referees and everything. So say if I've had, 17 fights to IBC, you've had no fights, if you know what I mean. Like it doesn't necessarily matter like that. So if I've had 17 MMA fights and I fight for Proving Grounds, which is a promotion, then I'll say Corbin 17 versus opponent with like 17 or like 26. With IBC, their whole idea around it is, you know, you could be anyone off the street, and this is the door to get you out there. You're not having to do all the hardship to get recognised to be able to fight for the promotion, if you know what I mean, because there's a lot of sanctioned bodies out there. So sanctions, like you've got MMA referees, you've got boxing, and within that, boxing's like WBC, you know, MMA, you've got IFMA, like there's all these different ones for like Muay Thai. They're categories almost, like Muay Thai, kickboxing, MMA, boxing. They all have their different sanctioned bodies. So the whole thing with IBC is to, you know, just give you a chance or an opportunity to get exposure, you know, and they don't. A lot of organisations will only give you fights or provide you with fights depending on how many following, you know, how's your following going. Have you got a lot of people that follow you and buy tickets? So IBC is more about just, if you just get in there and see how you go. They're not about, oh yeah, 50,000 Instagram followers, we want you on. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's around.
Okay.
If that answers your question.
Yeah, it does, because you're saying that's like entry level to if you want to go and do other things like MMA, boxing. Is that how you would say it?
Yeah. So if you want to, so let's talk about the gateway to UFC. Okay, you start from proving grounds, and then once you get, you know, a lot of exposure on that, or you get asked and you'll fight on Eternal, which is like the stepping stone. And Eternals has got like a contract with the UFC where they get exposure on the UFC platform. So if you've got a subscription to UFC, you can watch Eternal for free. And then if you win the Eternal like middleweight champion belt multiple times, then you have an entry into the UFC, if you know what I mean. So that's like the pathway to it. Whereas IBC is their own sanction. So, you know, IBC, that's like the UFC, if you know what I mean. There's no you have to fight here to get to IBC. It's just you can just fight for IBC.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long's IBC been around for?
8 months.
Oh, so the whole
it's
thing's
fresh
8
and
months.
it's really fresh. The first show was great. I took that fight on short notice, 8 hours notice. The second show, he's a sort of an action taker. Like, you know, he's got all this international exposure in Foxtel and KO, all at this event, when a lot of other organisations struggle to get that, if you know what I mean, being in the second show. So that's why visually, when I got the opportunity, I could say, oh, this is the direction it's going to go. He's an action take. He's a man of his word. So I'm like, yeah, okay, this can look good.
So we've turned up there and we saw the ring, the cage, all set up. It was so cool, eh? And
I love it. Like I love UFC. I love boxing. Like I always watch with my nephews. So when we got there live and just seeing it, that small cage, I was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
This is insane.
And then I was reading up on the brochure, the pamphlet, the rules. Oh, I Googled it too, like trying to find out what it's all about and the rules. Can you explain to our viewers the rules and?
So the rules are the prelim fights. I think they're 1 minute rounds, 3 1 minute rounds. It's all boxing, no kicking, but you can dirty box. So dirty boxing's like holding the back of the head, you know, like the street ones. Like, you can dirty box, spinning back fists, and there's this diamond. This is what's like the what it's about, and this was Dan, the promoter, says it was inspired by Justin Gaethje and Max Holloway, and it's the pointing to the center. So, you know, if you point to the center, that means the opponents have to, if they both agree, they have to go to the center, and they have to bang it out, and the first one to get dropped or take a backward step out of the diamond in the middle, you get a point deducted. Now they've changed that a little bit because it's pretty hard just staying in there, you know, not taking a back step. So now the rule set 4 2 minute rounds with 1 minute break, and the diamond, I think you can take a couple back steps out of it. So if I point to the diamond and you don't point to the diamond, then we don't have to do it. But if we both point to it, then this light drops down and it's like this big spotlight, and you stand there and you just bang it out, you know. So there's obviously 3 knockdowns. The fight's off. So if you get 3 knockdowns in 1 round, the fight's off. You get like standing 8 counts. So if you get knocked down, they'll hold you like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and you have to get up within that time. Or the fight's waved off. So, or you just knock them out and then they just don't wake up, and then you win the fight.
like your one. Like, oh man, that knockout. Your fight was the best fight of the night by far.
Yeah.
Your knockout.
Yeah.
And not to like disrespect your opponent, man. Like that poor fella, like he was just the way he went down, man. Like,
He was tough. He was tough.
Well, yeah, because I was filming it, and then when I saw him walk out, and it's kind of like that. We're like, yeah,
Well, he
and
didn't
then this
even walk
guy's,
out.
he
He
had
got
to
carried
get carried out,
Yeah.
and then we were like, oh shit, he looks really bad. It
Yeah,
was
because
cool.
once he got to the end where we were up on top and
Yeah.
we looked down, and right there he just dropped again.
Yeah.
Poor fella, but
So that,
You're a
that
bully.
harness
You're
chaos,
a
that
bully.
motor around these like, who wants it? Nah.
But yeah, that's a cool idea. The diamond, because when it goes off, like the crowd just goes wild. So like good marketing ploy, like a good thing to just kind of heighten the fight a little bit when the diamond does come on. Hey, because the light drops down and it's just like
I think there was probably one or two of them.
Yeah, there were.
Throughout the
I
night.
didn't think of it like in the moment. I didn't even think of it.
Yeah, you probably forget
No,
about
I was
it.
just just forgot. I wasn't like, I'm going to point into the middle.
Yeah.
I just didn't even think about it. So yeah.
No, I'm just gonna take him out anyway.
Yeah.
I don't need
Well,
the
he
yeah.
just about had me actually. Like that second round, I was bobbing and weaving, and I felt really good. And I came up and he hit me with his head, and that's when I felt dazed. And I was like, oh, bite down on the mouth guard now.
That's when you got the angry eyes.
Yeah,
And
puka no eyes. Eh?
Puka eyes.
Yeah.
Far out.
Do you have certain things that you do before your fight to prep?
Oh, great question. Yeah. Yeah, hard out into visualization and just doing it when I feel like doing it, not necessarily making it a routine. I worked with a sports psychologist for my title fight before we flew to NZ, and it just helped me a lot. It's all about creating your character, you know. The character today is Corbin in the podcast room, you know, and the character when I go into a ring is I write this affirmation. I actually wrote it in bed with my darling, and you know I go through who's Corbin showing up to be, and you know I am Corbin. You know I overcome challenges with grace and ease. I'm a high performance athlete. I just write this down every time I put my hand wraps on. The hand wraps act as like a USB. I'll recite, you know, some of these powerful affirmations, not all of them, but I'll just recite them. And then when I do something good in training, like a nice combo, or I'll relate it back to the hand wraps. And then what that sort of does is when you get your hands wrapped, you're downloading all those intentional moments with it. So that's something I've always done. Yeah, wrote a really powerful affirmation and recited it. And then I've sat there and thought about being presently putting time away to sit there and allow myself to think in the future for a bit. And I think about, you know, my walkout song. Why am I choosing this walkout song? So that, you know, now we as like unity, like in this time of chaos, we all need to just come together, and realize that we're all the same, So I go that deep, and then I think about the preparation during the fight camp, and how am I feeling going into the ring, the reactions afterwards, like hugging people. I think, you know, about that. What food am I gonna eat? And funny enough, like, man of my word, I said to my darling Allah, it's going to be the second or third round, I'm going to drop him. And a couple of people asked me, you going to knock him out in the first? I'm like, nah, it's going to be the second and third. and yeah, I did. So when that happens in that moment, I just relate it back to all of the, you know, the hand wraps, acknowledge myself like, man, I found a cheat code that works for me. And now that cheat code you can apply to anything, because obviously when it works for you, that's data, you know, that's like, it does work. It builds a self-belief of what I'm doing, what I'm creating is working. So I do that, and I also, do a taki before the fight. I done it in the car this time, laying in the car before the fight, you know, also having another meditation session, then closing it off. Probably what I miss a little bit about preparing for the fight is back home, all my training partners and stuff, the day of the fight, we used to go out to the maunga and go do a big karakia and cleanse. You know, now I've got to do that myself. So it's good to add my touch of culture into it, because I always believe that, man, we're from a lineage of warriors and we've all got it within us. And it's just tapping into that and harnessing that. So it's great to expose my coaches to that, because they're not they haven't been around that. Like, what are we doing? I'm like, I'll show you what we're doing. And then I was like, yeah, next time you better practice your karaoke because you'll be doing it next. So yeah, that's
cool.
That's a long answer, but that's what I do.
No, that's a good answer.
Yep.
Do you train that morning or the day before, or is it just like Corbin's in relax mode, like chilling?
So the week up to the fight, it would just be like, focus pads, just getting your flow. No hard training. You're not going to get any fitter the week of the fight. So yeah, a week before the fight, no sparring, and just focus pads, shadow boxing, cutting weight. Is probably the time when you're quite fatigued and your calories are down. So you're not trying to do anything to put your body under a lot of stress because it's obviously not going to recover. And the lead up to the fight night, I'm just hitting pads. I waited. My coach turned up late to that fight because he's he just knows how fight shows go. He's like, you don't need to turn up at this time. So I was just in there by myself, scrolling, sitting there, listening to a bit of music. And then he literally, before I walked out, he probably arrived there like 20 minutes before that, wrapped my hands in. I was just hitting the pads, for about 3 or 4 minutes. And then I walked out there. Body remembers.
Yeah.
Your body remembers positive things and negative things. It's the same with trauma. So it's like, I know that my fight camps, I've given it 110%. So when I go in there, I'm not like, oh, I should have done this or I should have done that. I know that I train really hard. So yeah.
Take us through your fight camp, like the process with that.
So the fight camp's 8 weeks. This fight camp was. You have an 8-week program of like the energy system work that you do. So you do that like 3 times a week, and that's just basically training at different heart rate zones for a threshold, like a certain amount of time. Heart rate variability, so it means your heart's. So if you're working at certain, you got high output, you've been there before. It's not like it's not like if I tell you to run down the road and you go for a sprint, you're like you haven't sprinted before, so it's like getting your body used to those different heart rate zones. I can put it in a way. So there's that 3 times a week. Obviously nutrition. I train basically Monday to Saturday, and I don't train in the morning. If I do, it's like a walk. It's nothing too extravagant because I start work quite early, and I know that I just will end up burning out, and it'll affect my, I might miss training 2 times a week if I'm doing that. So it's literally finish work 4 o'clock at the gym till about 7:30, and just training Monday to Saturday. We spar on Tuesdays and Saturdays, and then Saturday's the hardest training because it's our spider. So we go back to training at 4 p.m. and then the idea of the spider is to basically be like your fight, or what you're going to experience in your fight. So it's like, a Shark Tank almost. You just in every worst position, you're so fatigued and you're just getting beat up, so. And then Sunday is normally like recovery. We have an ice bath at home, so I'd ice bath like maybe during fight camp, like maybe 2 to 3 times a week. Yeah, meditate. That's a part of the fight camp. I don't do it every day. I'm not going to be this person that says, I meditate journal every day. I just do it when I feel like it, because to me that's getting out of the routine mind and more going off like what you'll feel like, what you feel like doing. So yeah, that's
I like that. Because a lot of people are, I meditate every day and this and that. I think it's good that you're just going when you feel like you need to do it or want to do it.
Yeah, because I think a lot of it as well is like, when you don't do the meditating every day and you're a person that does it every day, you find an out to, I'm dysregulated because I didn't do this, so it allows the other mind to get in there. Yeah. So I always go off the cowboy mentality. Like during fight camp, I still enjoy moments with my friends. I might have, I'm not this person that says I've got a real strict regime and I don't drink and I don't do this. I'll have a wine with my darling at night, or I'll go to a party and just not, might have 1 or 2 beers, because you just end up missing out. Like fighting's a very selfish sport, and like a lot of it's you're alone and you're separated from your partner a lot. So I make sure to enjoy those moments, and then I just make up for it in the fight. The biggest one for me is food. Like I always overindulge, so it's like the weight cut's a little bit harder.
I was talking to Jordan before the fight that night, and he was telling me that you had to jump in the sauna for like 3 hours to cut weight, to lose weight. How much weight did you have to get down? Like 3 kilos or something?
This one was supposed to be not that hard. It was like 4 kgs, 4 or 5 kgs, and like I've done more. And man, this one was hard. But yeah,
That's a lot of kilos to get down in a short amount of time, man.
yeah.
Like,
I went with a dietitian this camp, thinking that I was going to fight at 61, but with IBC, this is the other great thing about it is in MMA, it'll be like 61 to 63 is the limit, but for IBC it's like 61 to I think it's 66 kg. So you know you don't have to cut heaps of weight. You can fight in the bantamweight division as long as you weigh from 61 to 66. So you want to be heavier. So yeah, it was just hard. The sauna wasn't getting hot enough. I was traveling at that time. My darling had been invited to the TikTok Awards, so I flew over with her to go tautoko her to support her because she always supports my fighting. And then I literally had like, you can't sleep when you're weight cutting. Your body's just it's inflamed. It's like I need water. You're dehydrated, so I couldn't sleep. Woke up at 4 a.m. and then flew back to Brisbane to weigh in. So it was, I think the plane flight sort of stuffed up the way my body cuts weight because normally it goes quite well. So there's a lot of techniques that they use, like water loading. So the week of the fight, you'll start drinking like 10 litres of water, and then you'll drink that for a certain amount of days, and then the weigh-in, the day before weigh-in, you'll reduce your water to about 1 litre. And what that does is your body, because it's drinking 10 litres of water, it's so uncomfortable. You're constantly, all you're thinking about is, where's the next toilet? Where's the next toilet? It gets bad, man. Sometimes I have to carry a bottle in my car just in case. And so your body thinks that it's still got the 10 litres of water, so it starts flushing your system out. And doing that obviously gets rid of the sodium, so you're not holding on to more water. You cut the carbs during fight week, so you're eating mostly fats and protein, so that also drops the water. So there's all these different techniques, and everyone does it different, but yeah.
I feel like it's so scientific.
Yeah,
like half the stuff that you spoke about, how you train, how you eat, it's scientific.
Yeah. Find out what works for you. Find out what works for you. Some people cut 10 kgs. Like my cut was a safe cut, but it's just my body wasn't sweating, So I don't like to cut heaps of weight. Back in NZ, I probably cut 2 kgs, easy as.
For the average person,
yeah,
it's like doing what you got to do in the fight world. Your training, your diet, your nutrition, your family. And, oh, man, bro, like, the average person wouldn't have a clue of what you've physically, mentally got to do to do what you do, to get in that ring.
And it's hard. Like, when you do hard, we've all had hard times in different ways, but when this is a different hard. It's harder than, it's harder than going lifting weights at the gym. It's really you build from it going, man, I completed that, I can do it, and that mentality, then you can apply it to anything, I've done stuff way harder than this, so
the self-discipline it takes to do what you do. And the great thing, just talking to you now, you're very aware of Ella, or having time with her, quality time,
enjoying life,
and enjoying life, like that's
because being like a fighter too. I'm actually in awe of any athlete that only has themselves, boxer or a tennis or golf. Like it's a very not lonely, but it's just you. It's up to you.
If you're in a rugby team and someone misses training, because you missed training, that's why we lost. But it's a lot of excuses. And having a supportive partner is another thing, because it's a lot of time away. It's been great being out of fight camp recently, because we've tapped back into our lust phase, and we just be goofy around each other and have our little arguments and then get over them quickly. And where sometimes when you're in fight camp mode, I will lock in for that time, and I just help out when I can. I always help out when I can, but generally I'll have dinner made, or just those little things just carries the weight a lot. You're not coming home and having to get into a rat race to prepare for the next day.
So your coach that you're with now, how long have you been with him?
Oh, so we've got 5 coaches at the gym.
Okay.
So my main coach is Brenton Munford, and he's just a veteran of the sport. So I've been with him since I moved over to the Gold Coast. And then we've got Miles, he's like the owner of CMBT. And then we've got Jesse, Reese, Sammy. So Sammy, he's another fella from Palmerston North. So I connect with them really well, and we've got our own little New Zealand group. You come over, we've got our own little clique. It's quite cool.
Why did you choose them? Is there a reason? Did you know them?
So no, a lot of tohus with choosing them. I wanted to go to another gym, and I messaged the coach, and he's like, I messaged the coach, Nathan Corbett. He had another gym, and I thought he was still on the Gold Coast, but he said, "No, I'm in LA. Go look at this gym instead." And then Ella's friend said, "Oh, our friends train at this gym, CMBT." And then our flatmate said the same thing, and I was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna go and have a look." And as soon as I walked in there, it was this is what's gonna make me excel as a fighter. Like, just everything was top level, high level, and I just basically molded with, like, when you do fighting, you know when to pick out like a coach that'll blend with you, just from experience, And I seen a couple of coaches, and I was like, oh yeah, no, this is me. This is what's going to make me excel. I went there. They were really lovely. They've got their own supplement line. They got their own physio there. Their own gym, just multiple classes. So I was like, yeah, this is for me, and just been there ever since. A lot of anxiety starting at a new gym though. So our gym was quite small back home. It was more family, we'd do stuff with each other outside the gym on the weekends, or go have barbecues, or, so going to a bigger gym where it was, personally for me, it felt like, I think it's just Australia or Australians in general, it's really cliquey, where I'm more like, I accept anyone, it doesn't matter where you come from or how many followers you got or what you look like. I always come up and say to you, like, what are you up to? How long you been over here for? I think it's just, the New Zealand thing to do, So, once I got comfortable in there, then I started to probably express myself a bit more and just not care about any of that. And more Kiwis came in, fortunately. I've met some of my best mates over here. Shout out to Blake and Matua. And I'm like, come here, cuz, what are we up to? We've got our own little clan now,
Yes.
And everyone knows, like, oh, those Kiwi boys, they spar hard, they're tough. So, yeah.
Why did you choose Gold Coast?
Ella chose Gold Coast.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I was just tagging along.
You like it?
I love it now. I felt a little bit disconnected when I moved over here, just with not being able to go out to my own backyard and not hear cars driving, or, not having, like, it's small, our backyard was quite big home. This disconnection of home, and at that time, before I moved, I was connecting really well with my cousin and starting to go on my spiritual journey and learning more about my culture, so I felt like I was leaving that. But then that's when we met there to Aotearoa and went to the first wānanga, Ella and I, and realised, like, man, it's just connecting with those around you, and you got the moana there, you can always connect with home because water connects all of us, Yeah. So now I feel a lot more grounded and able to navigate that. We'll see when we have children, but it's a lovely lifestyle over here. So yeah.
What do you got upcoming for fights?
So I've got a fight show in March in Carrara, Gold Coast, and then promoter Dan called me up. He's going to go to New Zealand, so they'll be doing like a World Cup tournament where it'll be New Zealand versus Australia. So we're fighting over there in May. I'll obviously be fighting for New Zealand, So I don't know how that's going to work,
just about to ask that.
Yeah. Hopefully 3 fights with the IBC this year, and many more to come. March, it's a good time. It's given me a lot of time to decompress. It's not just fight after fight. Real proud of myself this one, because I think I heard it on the Planting Seed podcast, it's not mistake, it's take 1, take 2, because normally out of camp, what happens with fighters is they come out of the camp and then it's this whole sense of, I deserve this time off. I deserve to sit on the couch and do nothing. I deserve to eat all this yummy food. I've just trained for this time, but then it's always harder to get back into it. So I've been pretty good this time with, I've been celebrating with my mates, don't get me wrong, but I've been not overeating, over absorbing, not being super lazy. I've sort of just, okay, I've had my time off, let's get back into training, but not training there for 3 hours or 2 hours a day. It's just do the training, come home and let's go out for dinner or let's go for a walk, so yeah.
You're more aware of that now.
Super aware. I'm super aware of myself.
What's a fighter that you'd really love to go up against?
Well, we talked about this. Shane Young. I'm calling Shane Young out because one time I was at a fight show cornering one of my mates, and Shane Young sent my partner Ella a friend request on Instagram. and then I was like to Ella, this is recently after my last fight, darling, Shane Young's just sent me a friend request. He's like, oh, sucks to be you because he's already sent me one like 3 years ago. So Shane Young, it would be good. Let's have a boxing match. I love him. I love him. He's another Māori warrior that was fighting in the UFC, but now he's taken a different path. But I'd love to fight him because I feel him or Mike Perry, another one in bare knuckle boxing, Mike Perry. I feel like it'll be a good fight.
Yeah. And who's your fighters that you've always looked up to as a kid?
Dan Hooker. Just, I'm gonna say the other word. I've got that dog in me, like, man. I've been knocked down twice in a fight and got back and won. So I've got that. I don't like to say it, but yeah, it's the dog. I got that dog, and that's what Dan Hooker has. He's got that, he just doesn't fear away. You can be the most technical fighter, but as soon as you're getting put under the pump or getting beat up, then you see how much of a fighter you are. So it's one thing I love about Dan Hooker. He's just got that dog, takes any fight, even if it's not in his favour, he'll take it. And Brad Riddell, love his style, super technical. John Wayne Parr, you got Mark Hunt, Israel Adesanya, all of them, but it was mostly Dan Hooker and Brad Riddell were my favourites. Yeah.
Have you met any of them?
Yeah. I've met Dan at a fight show. He was the ref, and then he took me for pads. He came down and done a seminar at our gym when we had a fight show, so he took all the fighters from our gym on pads. I've met Brad Riddell briefly at a fight show. And then, my coach, Brenton Mumford, another one that I love his style, super tidy. And the funny connection is, like, he's, like, mates with all of them. So, he's mates with all of them. And then one of my good mates, Lake, that's over in Oz with us, he was one of Dan Hooker's students. So it's this full 360 of, like, I knew nothing of that. Yeah. And now, it's like, there's a connection with, Dan's real good mates with them, so, we'll see what the future holds. Maybe we'll come to IBC. He's got his 1 minute scraps going on. Maybe I get to go there and potentially win $50,000.
And what's your goal in the fighting martial art?
My goal, I'm starting to change it a little bit now because I don't like to set goals I always set my goals quite high, and then if I don't achieve them, it's like this, I didn't achieve them type of thing. So I just flow with it at the moment. My goal was to fight in one championship, but now I've got an opportunity for IBC. So it's more, my goals are seeking opportunity, if that's it, to give you a direct answer. It's seeking any avenue, one, to provide for my family, the fruits of my labour, and one that pays well. Because fighting's one of the most underpaid sports, and there's no sponsorship. All your money's from sponsors, but there's no like scholarships for it, if you will. So I don't want to be getting punched in the head for free. So it's just the opportunity. I'm just flowing with it, I'm just flowing with it. Water finds its own path. So that's me. So whatever opportunities come, then I'm jumping on that. That's going to excel me.
That's the second time you said that you don't want to get punched for free, right?
I say that because back in NZ, I used to just fight for free because it's amateur, And then over here, MMA might pay a certain amount, but then IBC's paid more than any of my fights. So then, and it's not like, don't get me wrong, it's not like I'm getting paid yet. It's not like I'm getting paid like 10 grand or 20 grand per fight, but it's just something that I'm like, I'm getting something at least,
Incentive to be there.
Like it's like almost worth it, if you know what I mean. It's like all your time and energy. I've been just doing it for free out of my own pocket. I've got sponsors this time, which is good. So I'm in trying to figure out something I can do to benefit me a bit more, because a lot of it's self-funded,
You work full-time.
Full-time.
And you train as well.
Yeah, and I think that's so great because Alexander Volkanovski was the same. Some of the fighters they just train full time and work part time jobs. But you know, if you can do it now, where your life's hectic, and you know, then fighting full time's easy. You know, as I see it. So yeah, work full time, digging holes all day, and then straight from there to training to get bet up. And then straight home to get a massage and go to sleep.
So what time would you go to sleep? You working at gym so late?
Yeah, well, I'm at the gym till about 7:30.
Yeah.
Sometimes 8 o'clock. Go to bed around 10. I'd like to. That's something I haven't really locked in. But I'd like to get to bed a little bit earlier. But I just feel like, man, I want some me time, you know? So it's this sense of if I stay up a little bit later.
I was watching a podcast during the week, Unfiltered Dave Littell, and you had one of his guests was this female coach she's got like a Bachelor of Science. She got to go out with the All Blacks and do stuff with that, train under their trainer. One of the things that she said was you can't overtrain. It's your recovery. You under recover. It's things like you're not getting enough sleep, your diet, nutrition. So it's all those things within your training that you can't fuel your body. So it's about fueling your body. Because you hear a lot of people going, "Oh, I've overtrained," which is probably burning out too.
Yeah, underfueled though. Probably comes from it. That's one thing. This camp that I've ate the most food in my life. You know, I've always undertrained until this moment type of thing. Like, I thought I was eating not enough food. Eating too much food, sorry. But yeah, this training camp I was eating a lot where I was struggling to eat it all, if you know what I mean. But I know that I perform a lot better when I've done that. So anything for having like a pre-workout meal, you know, being correct, like have enough hydration when you're doing it, making sure you're drinking electrolytes during training, not just water, and like all these little things, taking your supplements, having enough carbs. I was always not having enough carbs, and obviously I feel like thankful that my fiancée is a nutritionist, but that you obviously know if you're under eating, then you feel fatigued, and then that creates burnout, and then you're not getting enough sleep because your body's in shock. So it's like, yeah, you're right. The snowball effect. So yeah, nutrition's probably the biggest thing, eh?
What's the diet that you have in your training camps?
Yeah, so my diet in my training camps that I was loving, it changes multiple times, so you don't get bored of it. But one that I love is in the morning for breakfast, I'll have 3 eggs and a McMuffin, Afternoon tea, I'll have some fruit, and then like 200 grams of yogurt, chocolate, and like 100 grams of berries. And then lunch, I'll have like a pasta, like a beef pasta, you know, spag bowl. And then pre-workout meal, I'll have either like crumpets or pancakes. And then my post-workout meal will be like a protein shake, and then it'll be like pasta or something again. So I like to have my lunch and dinner the same, because then you'll just meal. You want to see Sundays when you meal prep. If you're making all these different meals, because I'd have those on my hard training days, and then on my low intensity days, I'd have a different diet. So then that had other meals with it as well. So I ended up just doing like my normal intensity training days, and I'd have my lunch and dinner the same, because I never got sick of it, because I try to prep my food for the whole week, so I didn't have to come home after training and worry about cooking and all of that. So that's what I'd have. And then that diet obviously changes when you come into fight week. You know, you cut out the carbs, it's more fats, so you just have what did I have for breakfast? It was just like 2 eggs, and then it'll be like lunch would be like, I can't even remember what I had. Oh, berries and like beef mince. And then dinner would be like 3 eggs, cheese and avocado. So that's what I'd eat right up to the weigh-in.
I have so much respect for people like you, elite athlete, just for the discipline and the training and commitment, and just to have that mindset to be able to do what you do and everything that's involved, from your diet to your training, and just juggling all that, and full-time job too. That's a lot. And like I've got a lot of respect for people that can do that, instead of like sitting around the lounge watching Netflix and stuff. You're out there chasing and doing it. Yeah. Chasing your dreams.
And enjoying it as well.
And enjoying it,
Enjoy it, because, man, you can switch quickly going like, why am I doing this? I'm not getting the instant gratification. But it's just this thing that just keeps affirming itself like, man, this is it. Like, my darling knows the vision, I know the vision, she knows, like, oh yeah, keep going, baby, you know. So yeah, I just see where it takes me, you know. And if it doesn't work out, I'm not regretting anything. But I'm just flowing with it at the moment, hey. Yeah, in my head it's just like a jungle of thoughts, because whilst doing that, you know, I'm trying to learn other hobbies outside of it, and, you know, spirituality, taking time to learn about my heritage, my culture, which sometimes I struggle with. So it's, you know, having the energy to do all those other things where you know that that's what you need to be doing, but then, you know, like, man, I love this and I know what I need to do. So it's trying to juggle everything, you know. So yeah, just flow with it, whatever I'm interested in, just go with it. Financial literacy, like, you know, trying to do that at the moment, and just enjoying the process.
What is one of your hobbies? What do you do to chill out?
Oh, I like to actually go look at the stars and just look up at the sky sometimes, and just we try to point out like Orion's belt and just notice any different things, or look for any UFOs, or just anything that's abnormal in the sky. I bought a telescope that I said I was gonna go out there and start studying astrology and stuff, but you know, I've looked at it a couple of times. My hobbies outside of it is probably like things to do with manifestation, different techniques, learning about investing, you know, like having some diversity, not just relying on your job. And so that might be with crypto or stocks and stuff like that. But it's when I tap into these different hobbies, it changes each week. It's not like I've got a disciplined thing. And because I'm ADHD, I used to fight against it. Like, you can't stay consistent with doing this. And that's how I go with the whole feeling. Like, it's normal for me now. It's accepted for me to try all these different things and circle back. Dog training, I get into that's another hobby with my dog, trying to teach him new tricks. You know? So all these little things, going for a run, I go for all these things that's completely normal. Like, you know, I understand like consistency builds momentum, but my momentum's just done in a different scenario, you know. So, yeah. So my hobbies is that, walks obviously on the beach, spending time with my darling, going through phases where we upgrade our communication, like sometimes watching series, you know, it just all changes. We're just a normal person, hey, doing normal people things.
Has your mum come over and seen you?
Yep.
And
Mum came over for my first fight, and she was like, after that one that you just had, they had a little watch party, and she's like, I'm coming over for the next one. My stepdad's like, no, I'm coming over. So mum, we want them to move over here because we know that they're set up at the moment, but I think when we have children, they'll hopefully move over. But Mum loves it over here, you know. My brother, I'm really proud of him. My brother Shaden, because he's changed a lot, and I want to get him over here when we get our own place, because I know I'll have a lot of development for him at the young age. He's 18.
Yeah. So really, is it just the two of you?
Yep. Yeah. And then we've got I've got like a half brother on my dad's side. My dad's passed away, so me and my half brother met up when my dad was sick. So we met when we were quite young, and then we reconnected when he was passing away. And then he was actually at the fights as well. So yeah, I've got a blended family. I've got some step siblings and stuff, but it's just mainly me and my brother Shaden.
Did you have a good relationship with your dad before he passed?
Another great segment to go into. Love my dad to bits. My dad Wayne. When I was younger, I didn't really have a great relationship with him, because obviously going back to talking about the, you know, seeing him hit my mum and stuff. And then that sort of carried on with my stepmother. And there was sort of a time where I was like, I'm old enough now, like, you know, don't fucking do that. Then my dad changed, and we started to grow a bit. We grew quite close with each other, and I'm thankful for that, because I didn't understand like his childhood and what he had gone through, and the mama that he was carrying, and the disconnect within his family. Like, he had brothers, but they don't really talk, and yeah, it just wasn't. I understood my dad, and I forgave him, and I'm thankful we've done that. because it was obviously he passed away from cancer, but we healed our relationship during that time, and it was truly the most beautiful thing. Because I'd done some work with this whole men's group thing, and I talked a lot about my dad, how it affected me. But I'm glad, like, I love him to bits, and I'm glad we healed our relationship. When he passed, it gave me a lot of peace and just understanding like how trauma passes on. So it's, you know, it's up to us. If we don't sort out our insecurities, well, then you've just left the job for your mokopuna or, you know, their offspring to sort it out. So I was really aware of that. And yeah, man, my dad, he was into running. We used to go for runs together. Used to talk heaps about the SAS. I always wanted to be in the SAS. I was always intrigued with that high operative, you know, doing cool things on the movies. So we always used to connect with that, you know, playing chess. My dad was a great cook. You know, he was a great cook. He was so good. I think his love language was food and the jet plane lollies. But yeah, it's... Yeah, love Dad. Hey, I'm so glad that he got to see me. He was hard into rugby to go back. That's what Dad brought up. Always taking me to rugby training, and he always I used to love it. We used to watch small black TVs. You know, the anxiety of that was probably my first thing of competition. They're like, oh, we've got a rugby game, like, you know, watch small black TV, have our wheat bix and stuff. And my dad always used to go out there like, son, you better go. You know, what did he used to say? You got to tackle with commitment or you're going to get hurt. You know, he used to say that, you know, don't be shy to tackle someone because if you're going half-assed, you're going to get hurt. And rugby was his thing. Like, he just loved it, you know. I didn't like peanuts. And my dad always used to, you know, watch the All Blacks have salted peanuts right there. And, you know, it's all these little things, you know. Giving my dad a kiss goodnight, he have his whiskers beard that'll prick you and all of that. So, yeah, we used to do a lot, and I probably wish I spent more time with him, to be fair. You know, I'm glad that we healed, but man, I wish I spent more time with him. And, you know, I know he had a really strong faith, and this is going back to, you know, I'm not religious, but I'm religious in myself, and I understand that when Dad was going through his pain and stuff, his faith was quite strong, and I made that connection with, like, whatever gets someone through, you might believe in something else, then that's it, you know, then that's what gets you through. And yeah, I'm glad, because he always used to try, you know, convert me. Every time we went over to dinner, it was a conversion, like, oh, hey son, we should go to church. And, you know, yeah, he understood. I explained to him, like, you know, I'm spiritual within myself, Dad. And, you know, whatever gets you through, that's great, you know. Because we all understand, you know, energy exchange, and you know, if you'll find, you know, you can put all that into yourself. So, not to diss on any religions, I think they're beautiful. And when you go back in the times like of the Stoics, and you hear all the similarities, you know, between them, it's like, oh, you know, it's all just the same thing, you know. So
Pretty much.
Yeah.
The higher power.
For myself, I'm brought up in religion and I've turned away from it. I'm just more of a spiritual person. That's how I see myself. I don't need to go to church to get that. You know, I get that in my home. A few more questions before we close up. One that I want to ask is advice to young men, teenagers that are wanting to get into martial arts, whatever it is, whether it's boxing, MMA, kickboxing. What's your advice? Just
start up, just get going, you know, start up. Obviously research. Oh, well, no, any gym, you know, just go in. It can be quite anxious at times, but I'm telling you, you know, that short-term discomfort, it's going to make you a better man. You're going to learn tools to not only use in the ring, but to apply in life, you know, on communication and how to not get into confrontation and, all that. It just builds your confidence, because as men, there's all these, man box. You should be the provider, the protector. There's all of these things. Ever since martial arts, I've been the most vulnerable person, I can sit here and cry. I can say to my darling when I'm not feeling loved, or you get all of these things from it, So like the bigger picture is, I think to redirect to the question, when you start a martial arts, no matter what age you are, you don't have to feel like you have to be a protector, because you're confident in yourself that you've got the skills to know if something does happen, you're safe. So you're not, I think a lot of children are quite hyper vigilant, especially in this time where they're like, it's more of a fear, like, oh, don't go over there because those people are mad, or, I'm not going to go down that street, or, you're always looking out for the dangers. But when you train in martial arts, it gives you this peace, clarity, this mind, body, soul connection, it's a good tool to reflect and to evaluate how you are and how you're doing. So yeah,
because it's like you saying you used to get into fights all the time.
Yeah.
Then you started fighting. You just would switch off to people who would normally make you fight.
It's just this thing of like, you just get humiliated. Like when I first went to the gym, it was like, man, I was getting beat up by girls, and I'm not saying like a hiding's what you need, but in a controlled environment, we had a lot of gang members coming in a controlled environment where you're, the fight's going longer than 1 minute, then you see, oh shit, there's a lot more, and your whole outlook just changes there. And then it's just this journey of like self-discovery and building yourself, because I've seen the best changes within the gym, where people come in that have gone through the same thing as me, women, men that are like, they can't even look at you and talk. And I say this about one of our brothers, Aiden, back home. He'd come in and he'd talk to you, not look at you, and his journey, seeing how many people flourish from it, it's just like, man, it's like, wow, now he can look at you and talk to you. He's got all this confidence and this aura about him and this energy that he's like, how are you? He'll come up and he's not shy, So that's a healthy gym space is that we use, it's a positive environment, a safe environment, and you're getting tools to apply in everyday life,
Like when you're getting in your bar fights and things like that, it's an adrenaline dump of anger.
Yeah,
which lasts for like 30, 40 seconds. You're brawling for 30 seconds. Boof, 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 but then when you're in the ring, as you said, it's a controlled environment. So, you've got a 2-minute round to fight. So you've got to last that. You can't just adrenaline dump for 2 minutes straight.
Yeah.
Like when you start training and you improve your skills in fighting, it gives you that confidence, it gives you all these attributes, qualities about yourself, is where you feel as though you don't need to go out and prove yourself.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's what you just said there. Yeah, it's not coming from an egotistical space of like, I'm the man, I can beat you up. I know a lot of fighters, and a lot of them aren't like that. It's like the art of, it's the art of surprise. Like, man, I don't go looking for fights, because you see the best fighters in the world, you wouldn't even think of them as a fighter, If you see them uptown, you're like, man, what,
like how we started when I spoke about you. I would never have, looking at you, I wouldn't have thought you being a fighter.
Yeah.
And then if I was to look at you the wrong way, and then I've got 10 punches in my head before I even see one coming, and I'm asleep, just something like that. Yeah. Just, be careful who you mess with.
Yeah. I think it's so good for younger children to join a gym. Maybe the contact, like if I was to have children, I think I'd start them in jiu-jitsu or something less contact. But for a teenager, 15 to 16, I know what it's like to be that age. I think it's really, really good, because it gives you some sort of direction. And for me, that's what happened anyway.
We've got a closing question that Ren's always asks, but I thought the other day of another question that I'll ask. The question is for the meaning of life for you.
For me, I feel like the meaning of life is, to first just look at nature and how nature works, you know, like just the flow. I always relate, but I said to Allah, this was a connection that I made during this week. Just flow like water, you know. Water doesn't choose its path. It's just flowing, you know. So flow with every opportunity, you know, seek and discover, make your own connections. One, trust in yourself, you know. The meaning of life, you know, have a lot of trust in yourself and be an abundant person, you know. Intentions, everything. Acknowledgements, everything. You know, being grateful to be able to walk outside and be safe. Being grateful to listen to the frequencies of nature, you know, everything like that. Just be an abundant person, a loving person, treat everyone with kindness. And I think when you apply those tools of, you know, just being a nice human, your view on life is only going to be more positive as within, you know, so without, you know, as above, so below. It's like all these polarities. But yeah, I'm ADHD, so my question's a bit jumbled, my answer.
That's not jumbled.
That's cool. That's cool. That's cool.
Nice, yeah.
I just really trust in yourself, because I feel like we were talking about with the routine, just go for your own feeling, because we all have the answers. And that's through seeking environmental confirmation. We all have a thought when we're just sitting out there. You might see a bird fly past. Oh, yeah, that's a tohuia sign to act on that, you know. So we've got all the answers. You got all the answers from your tipuna and everything. So just tap in and trust in yourself. It's the biggest thing.
Kia ora.
Yeah.
Ka pai to that.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, Renee.
Is there anything that you want to say or that we haven't asked you about your fighting or about anything like that you want to mention?
Plant medicine was probably a significant turning point in my life. Obviously, being in a healthy mind state with it, that definitely helped me navigate in a controlled environment with people. I've done ayahuasca, and you know, I believe once you do something like that, you just understand that there's a lot more to life than getting up, working for money, you know, being stuck in the system, or what would you call this, matrix. There's a lot more, and a lot of it relates back to yourself and how you treat others, and you know, love is the highest frequency. Yeah, just being really, you know, really connected, you know, not polluting Mother Earth.
Take us through that practice. Was that like a one-off thing that you did?
It was a one-off thing I did. It's about an hour and a half on the Gold Coast, so I've always wanted to do an ayahuasca experience. And obviously, if you know about it, there's like retreats in like New Mexico and all of this, but they say it finds you, you know, it finds you through this like korero, you know, it might drop something and then you might download that and go, oh, maybe that's another route I need to just try. But I found it, one of the guys told me about it from the gym, and then I connected with this guy that he gave me his details, and he basically, you go through the screening process. He asks you all these things, and you know, to fast before, and like, why are you doing it? Like, you know, it's quite in depth, and it's just literally out in inland in New South Wales, and man, you sit in this. There's about 10 of you. You're laying on the ground. You go for this guided meditation. They recommend to do 3 days, but I was like, 1 day's enough for me for now. You know, 1 day's enough for me. And you just have this powerful plant medicine. I call it that. I don't call it a drug. You know, it's not a drug. It's powerful plant medicine. And
that puts you like in a trance state. How would you describe?
It puts you in a state of trance. How could you? If you're familiar, I don't know if I can explain it. It's like you see yourself in third person. That's how I can say it. So you're viewing your interactions and experiences from an outside view. So for me, that experience was reliving the sexual assault. So how I can explain it is I basically seen my younger version, the Corbin, seeing it from a third person view of going through all of that, you know, all the lead up to it, and me telling mum and all of this. And it was quite healing seeing that, because you had to remember that when we all need to remember that when we're young, we're at our most purest form, you know. We see no evil, or we don't know what's right or wrong. So it was like, giving a bit of love back to that, saying, no, I love you, bro. You didn't know what was going on, eh? So I basically relived that whole situation, and it was just I was in the fetal position. I had my hoodie that my mum had bought me. It's like, what's it? Aotearoa. It's got that on it. And so I was in the fetal position. I was like crying. It's like, they say when you cry or you purge, it's like a release of the trauma. It's coming out of you. I didn't throw up, but I was just crying, and I just sat with that hurt for so long, and it just wouldn't go away. And then when it went away, it was just like, like I went away, and I remember just laying there going like, man, I felt a new character, like a new skin, like I've worked past that, and I don't need it doesn't hold me back or have attachment to me anymore. I can talk about it and not feel like a yucky emotion or whatever. It's just like, I'm alive, I'm a new human. And I remember going outside and just thinking like, you're doing everything, this is what you're doing is right. So I took that as like to trust in yourself. What you're doing is right. You're getting it from like another consciousness or another realm. You're getting these like downloads. We've all had it, like, oh, I need to message someone. It's like that, but on a heightened level about yourself, and just one understanding that, unity is the biggest thing, and just treating people with love and abundance. And, you're an image of yourself. So if you're being negative to others, you're generally negative from within, and then your manifestation is going to be negative, so a lot of downloads with polarities. There's a lot of positive and negative environments that you can be in. So it gave me just heightened awareness, confirmation, and knowing that trusting within myself. So it was a very healing experience, and it's not something that you do and feel I want to do it again. It's like, that was enough. And when I need to do it again, or when I get the calling to do it again, I'll do it again. So that's why they recommend 3 days, because it can bring up all the traumatic experience that you're not necessarily remembered, if you know what I mean. Like, forget about them. So truly healing. Recommend it. If you're in the right mind state and you're not going into it. Obviously, I'm not a doctor and a psychologist, but, you don't want to be going to it negative and being depressed and all this. You got to be you got to be accountable yourself and know that you're all good. Hey? Yeah. So it's a really safe environment. And then after that, you go in a share circle. You share your experience if you want to. Then you all have a kai at the end. You stay there the night. So you can stay there and you drive home in the morning. And it's like, like you said, it's on those different, you got the Western way of doing counselling, and you got your cultural way of doing it, and then you've got, other cultures' way. It's like, you can cook a steak 20 different ways. Yeah. So it's applying that to healing and spirituality. It's like there's not one straight and narrow with it, eh?
Going to psychiatrist, psychologist, and for me personally, I do better in the environment of spirituality rather than the Western ways, like, tane matua, doing that, and being around my people. Yeah. And having that, it builds you up, and it made it a lot easier for me to process my trauma. And other things I've done, a couple of other times, I've done an Indigenous kinetics, done that healing, and the Bali one that we've done over in Bali. Yep. And for me, I find that to talk about, I couldn't talk about it without breaking down. I couldn't talk about certain things without crying. I just get high emotion about it. But doing all these different spiritual healings through different cultures, Indigenous, the Balinese, our culture, I'm able to talk about it without it affecting me that much where I'm going to break down and start crying and getting all emotional. And that's just really helped me. And then meeting people like yourself at these events that we've attended and gone on, and the ocean, doing that too, that was the healing in there. It's just so many awesome experiences that take you in this different realm, and being able to accept what's happened and and move on and be at peace. Be at peace within yourself. That's what I've found for myself. But yeah, they're awesome things that I've only just delved into. And who knows what's to come for 2026.
Yeah.
With all this. I'm a big fan of yours, that's for sure.
I'm a big fan of Burning Bridges. Big fan.
Yeah.
Beautiful podcast.
Last question I'm going to ask. If your younger self was listening to this, what would you tell him?
I love you, bro. You got bright things coming ahead of your light years to come. You know, you're the man. Trust in yourself. Flow with life. And never say no to any positive opportunity, even if it builds a bit of discomfort or anxiety. Modi ora.
Modi ora.
Yeah.
Thanks, bro. That was cool.
That was awesome. Thank you, guys.
Right.